Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for your continued support to our channel. The channel is where it is because of your unwavering support, and I really appreciate you. In case you're here for the first time, please allow me to request you in the same breath to take a second or two and hit that subscribe button, then follow it with the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you whenever we do a video like this. You can also like and share our videos. And once again, thank you for your support. Now, the conversation around First Lady Madam Rachel Ruto and her engagement with the US-based televangelist Benny Hinn is one that is not going to end any soon, because it is really surrounded by a lot of controversy, and it has really divided the country in the middle. There are those who are opposed to it, others welcome it. But let us be honest with each other. What is the bone of contention in this? Is it because it is Madam Rachel who is inviting the preacher? Is that the case? Or is it the preacher that is controversial? Or is it because of the information that was given that the state is going to sponsor? And I think the latter is the answer. You see, I have followed this conversation, especially in the social media, and I have concluded that Kenyans were worried and baffled that the government wants to sponsor the preacher. You see, sponsorship would mean that they would pay for the air ticket return when he's coming and when he's going back. Then his upkeep, because he cannot sleep in these very small hotels. He can only lodge into the high and mighty motels and hotels that we find in town. Maybe it be a 7 stars. Do we have 8 stars hotels in the country? Yes. And so without any pretense, we know that when a state sponsors something, money is going to be involved, and a huge chunk of money. And that is why the reason why people are really very mad at this, in an environment where people really feel that our money should be put to good use. The other thing why people have got a right to question, any money that is held by the state is taxpayers' money. But then there seems to be a government's effort to try and send people there to manipulate this idea and explain a few things. Now, one person who really baffled me with this explanation is the Ezekiel Mutua, who is the CEO of the Music Copyright Society of Kenya. He's the CEO there. On his tweet, he said something that was really funny, and it attracted a lot of attention. Dr. Ezekiel Mutua is really supporting William Ruto and Rachel. He said something that really attracted a lot of debate in social media. On his Twitter handle, or X handle, he said, "So what if the First Lady Mama Rachel Ruto invites Benny Hinn to preach in Kenya? She's a Christian and she's pushing God's kingdom agenda the best way she knows how. Other First Ladies who support other ideas push their agendas, some including LGBTQ, and no one makes noise about it. Let's not make a mountain out of a molehill." Now, according to Mutua, he feels that Madam Rachel should be let alone to invite the preacher, because as a First Lady, she's got an agenda to push, just like any other First Ladies. I remember the former First Lady used to, there was a run for a child or something. She used to go for those long distance running because she was promoting something. And Madam Rachel, being a Christian, she has decided that this is what she's doing. Now, this alone attracted, look at this guy called CO made it very simple and clear that the issue is the government-sponsored part. No, people don't really, we are not really afraid of an evangelist coming to the country. We are not opposed to it. But the way CO puts it, the issue is the government-sponsored part. Then Ezekiel Mutua tells him, saying that Kenya will meet the cost of the crusade doesn't equate use of government funds. She meant Kenyans will sponsor the crusade. You see, this is where sometimes I get mad. Because sometimes I have a feeling that there are people in this country who feels that we are imbeciles, we are so gullible that they can deceive us, deceive all of us, and just get away with it. In all honesty, these are the people who make a very simple idea become very complicated. I can assure you. How do you play with our minds? What is the definition of a government sponsorship? Because when you tell us that what she meant is that Kenyans will sponsor the crusade, I mean, this is a joke. Then the other person here called Guy had this to say. At this point, I'm baffled by your argument. Government sponsored means government footing the bill, no rocket science there, and you know it. That was that. But the person who really nailed the head is Gabriel Uguda. Gabriel Uguda is one of the famous bloggers around, and he supports opposition. So Gabriel said the following: no one makes noise. And it was a question. No one makes noise? Aren't you the deputy aren't you the deputy Jesus reincarnate who used to ban films in Kenya for having content your receding mistake considered unconstitutional? Bwana, if you wanted to lick Ruto's shoes, you could just have converted into a towel and stayed in his bedroom. That was a bit strong. According to Uguda, he feels that Ezekiel Mutua is really licking boot. That was the comment that really made my day, and it was a bit strong. That if Ezekiel Mutua wanted to lick Ruto's boots, then what he would have done is to convert into a towel and stay in his bedroom so that atumike kuwipe kila mahali. But then, without all these sentiments, I want us to agree on one thing. We need policies as much as we need God. God helps those who try to do something. You cannot sit there with bad policies, with high taxes, with the removal of subsidies, and you tell us that you want to pray for our country. You cannot be a person who does not want to listen to any other third opinion, and you want to pray for peace in our country. Peace is a collective responsibility where the government must take cognizance of the fact that they're in government does not mean that they block all the avenues of speaking to other stakeholders. And peace means that you listen to your people. When people pronounce themselves that they don't want finance bill, you don't force it on them. And so when you want to pray about peace, pray, but also guard against anything that will go against the peace that you're praying for. The fact that it is the government that is sponsoring this crusade is really one thing, because we need money to build schools. Do you know, as we speak, there are pupils who still learn under a tree, and already you're telling us that El Nino is coming. We are in a country where we don't have facilities in our hospitals. There is no medicine, and then this is the reason why it really elicits a lot of anger when you tell Kenyans that you want to invite a tele-evangelist. And then practice what you preach. I did this analysis earlier. We can't have people who purport to be men of God and say that they were given their victory by God, yet they go on killing people. The report from Human Rights Commission says that ever since William Ruto took over office, People have died in unclear circumstances, torture. We see them. Even today, there was a police officer who was harassing journalists that they were covering Langata cemetery staff who went on strike. And so the whole idea of peace can only be initiated and perpetuated by this government. Act what you talk. And I agree that we need God in everything that we do for us to succeed as a country. Next time, before you bring us an evangelist, try and conduct a public participation so that we tell you who we want as Christians. Who told you that if you love Ben-Hinn, then all Kenyans, because you are now telling us that you're bringing him on our behalf. Let us not confuse people and intimidate them when they criticize an idea that should have been done better. If it was William Ruto or Rachel using his or her money to bring the preacher, it would be okay. And let me tell you something. We watch all these people online, on YouTube, live, wherever they are. So it is not like we don't know who Ben-Hinn is. You could talk of Joel Osteen, we know them, T.B. Jakes and all those televangelists, and we know them. Ladies and gentlemen, let us be a nation that is serious with itself, because the way we are moving, we are playing around and we are headed to the wrong direction. This is a fact. So Gabriel Oguda and Ezekiel, maybe this conversation will continue, but Ezekiel has really found it very rough. Supporting or defending William Ruto is the most difficult thing to do. Ask Ngunyi Mutahi, ask those who have tried, because you are forcing an idea that you know very well cannot work. Even regarding Gachagua, truthful man, had to calm down at least for once to play around with our minds that he was so remorseful about reckless comments that were made by his juniors. And that is my take.